Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Be the Light. Good morning. I have a update. Um, y'all, let's get into it. A couple of things going on um before we get to read through some of the testimony at lunchtime. So let's see what was going on the docket. There seems to be some docket shenanigans going on if you're paying attention. Um, and we've been talking about it, of course, but baby, okay. Um, let's check in first though and see did everybody get to court safely this morning? What's going on? And make sure as you're coming in, make sure to tap in, tap in. Good morning, Bougie Gang. How are you doing? If you are new here, welcome and good morning. We're gonna get ourselves real quickly up to date. Okay. Um, let me see what's going on here real quick before I share my screen. Okay, cool. Very cool. Cool. Okay, let me get to where I know we want to be. So I don't okay, let's get to here. Let me share my screen, get y'all all caught up for what at least what I can share with you this morning, okay? Let's see. Baby. Okay. Okay, and I think I was saying before, I don't know if I finished it or not. First of all, I put 2 shorts up this morning, so go check them out. We're gonna talk about it anyway this morning, real quick, but if you are not getting your notifications, make sure to set your notifications to all so you can always be notified. If you're not getting them, I always hate to say unsubscribe, resubscribe, but that seems to do something to kind of reset your settings. But it's all in the settings, guys. All in the settings. So anyway, let's get into it. Good morning. It's Wednesday. It is May 14th. And baby, let's see did they get to court safely this morning? It's raining. Um, it's a very rainy day in New York City. It's drippy wet. And we are out in front of the courthouse. As you can kind of see, it's wet. People have on their slickers. They have out their umbrellas and it's wet outside. The one thing, so the sprinter pulls up, and as we've seen, it takes about 2-3 minutes for the family for that door to open. But also, I guess, they've got security measures. They've got Homeland Security guy pulls up. They've got, private security. There's Christian. I don't know where Christian popped out of. He might have been in an SUV, but there's Christian King Combs right there with an umbrella. Um, and let's get into it. Well, there goes your girl, everybody. Good morning, Bougie Gang. If you're just now tapping in, just in time, your girl got off the bus, and baby, she doesn't have a care in the world today because she said, "You are not catching me flat-footed. I'm gonna wear my wigs, but I'm gonna wear this good hat, okay? And you're not gonna catch me out here, okay, slipping." I'm going now. This other lady, who's got her bangs, her gangs, and you know, it's it it's looking it'll be all right. We'll say it like that. That looks like I don't know who that is. That might be Justin. Justin's a little bit, swole. So that might be Justin. So we saw Quincy. Quincy, where was Quincy at? Quincy popped out. Let's see. There's Quincy right there. So Quincy and Christian got there. Now, did the girls come? I didn't see them. If y'all saw the twins, let me know. But I didn't see the twins anywhere. I saw hide nor hair of the twins or Chance's mom. But Quincy popped out of like nowhere. Okay. Quincy popped out. Okay, here's Quincy. He popped out. Okay, there's the lady who Always gets out first. So there's Quincy, there's King, Christian. Christian gets grandma, Miss Janice, okay. So there's Justin and someone else, and that's it. No girls. And you know what? Based on yesterday's testimony, I don't blame them for staying in the hotel, have a nice little sleep, get you some breakfast, enjoy your day, because what your dad has going on is not it's not for them. You know what I mean? They've it's good that they took a day off. If they took a day off, they might be in there. They may have gotten there and we don't know. But if they took the day off, I don't blame them after yesterday's testimony because I'm sure that was a lot. Um Girl, they heard enough. Also, today is supposed to be the movies. Cassie had some of the freak offs in her phone. So if it's in your phone, then it's probably in your cloud, right? So Cassie had some of this information. We don't know where they're getting it from. Did they get this from Cassie? Yesterday, when she was on the stand, they asked her, she had turned over some information. I don't know, didn't they say I think she said she turned over a laptop. She turned over some information. So some of what they have may be from Cassie, may be from what they seized from Diddy's house. I can't really tell you. I'm sure we're going to hear and understand a little bit more as time goes on. But at the end of the day, today could be when they're showing the visuals. Now, that being said, they are probably not going to allow those visuals to be viewed by everyone. It may just be the jury, interested parties, let's put it that way. The prosecution, the defense, the jury, the judge. If you're in the gallery, probably no. They'll be playing the white noise so you can't hear, um, and have things positioned so you can't see. So, some things you can't unsee, though. I mean, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? There are some things that maybe folk just don't want to see. So, even though we are equipped, everyone is an adult in the courtroom, but at the end of the day, there are just things you can't unsee. And I'm a firm believer in I don't have to hear or see everything. You know what I mean? So maybe it's a good thing, you know? Um, I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to, but this is not uncommon. There's plenty of trials where you're not going to see the crime scene photos. I mean, this is really nothing new. Not being able to see everything. So if you go to a trial, they're not always going to display um the most, they're not going to always display everything. Some things are not for general consumption, right? But yeah, so it looks like the family got there. We saw Miss Janice there every day. Good for her. Ma'am is there to support her son, and I'm sure it means a lot. We know that Diddy has a very special relationship with his mother, and she's she's showing up every day. Let's see. I feel like I keep missing it. It was like a moment in time. When she got out, I was just like, wait, she's wearing a hat today? Okay, Janice. Okay. Wait, let me run it back just a little bit. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's get into a couple of other things real quick. Let me get over to the docket. Excuse me. Okay, so there's a couple of things going on. I did drop a short this morning, so if you saw it, you probably already know what I'm talking about. And as soon as I dropped it, one of you guys responded because I'm like, I know I heard the name, but I could not remember what it was. But And I was Googling and nothing was really connecting in my Google search. And then one of Bougie Gang came through in the comments and said, that's one of the escorts. And I was like, what? So one of the, okay, so let's see. Let me pull this up, y'all. All right, I'm just going to download this real quick to my computer. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this was interesting. I posted this morning, but you guys may not have had a chance to see it yet. So let's talk about it real quick. Okay, so this was posted yesterday. This is Judge Subramanian. It's an order, right? Can everybody see? All right, let me move me out the way. Make me small. Okay. Okay. This was posted yesterday on the docket. Judge Subramanian posted the court is in receipt of a motion to quash the subpoena issued to Clayton Howard. I think Clayton Howard was named as one of the male performers. Let's say it like that. But we'll know more by Friday for sure. But there's a subpoena for Clayton Howard. Who Clayton Howard is? It's potentially he is one of the performers, one of the escorts. He is someone who was subpoenaed and apparently has some information. That motion and COMBS' response to the motion. So that gives us some clues. There's a motion to quash and COMBS' response to the motion. So let's just say this. It sounds like it's the government, because why would COMBS put in a response if it was his motion, right? You're not going to put a response to your motion. So it's more than likely a motion to quash from the government. Okay. And the assumption is that the subpoena is coming from the defense to Clayton Howard. The prosecution is looking to quash the subpoena to call Clayton Howard, or that was issued to Clayton Howard, and COMBS' response to the motion will be docketed after the parties meet and confer over potential redactions. So they want to give a chance for whatever Clayton Howard has, and they want to give them enough time to talk about it and make any potential redactions no later than Friday. Okay. So Clayton Howard obviously has some tea, some information, something. He has been subpoenaed by my assumption is the defense. The prosecution is trying to block it. COMBS has a response, and the judge said, we're not putting this on the docket till Friday. You guys need to meet no later than Friday. And the motion and COMBS' response to the motion will be docketed after the parties meet over potential redactions no later than May 16th. So, but he made the order public. So I don't know. Look, I don't know. I can't begin to assume why the judge would make the order public, but the motion to quash and the response to the motion to quash won't be visible until after they have a chance to meet. But I guess the judge is letting us know, you know, that there is a subpoena out here for this gentleman, and there's conversation around how this is going to be presented, and it won't be presented until after they have an opportunity to meet, and it needs to be done by Friday. But the judge decided to put the order on the docket. Okay. All right. So we don't know what the motion to quash says. So the reasoning behind the government not wanting Mr. Clayton's information, testimony, the subpoena, whatever it might be, and the response to it. Also on May 16th, Howard should provide the subpoenaed materials. So even though there is a motion to quash, Clayton Howard should provide the subpoenaed material to the court for in-camera review, meaning the prosecution and the defense will be there, but it's not going to be in our view. It's going to be more of a behind the scenes, off the record. So Clayton Howard has information. It needs to be provided by Friday for a in-camera review, and the motion to quash and the response will be docketed after the conversation, and everything needs to happen by Friday. I'm like, baby, what is he bringing to the table? What information? Maybe he has receipts. Maybe he has Zelle receipts. Maybe he has PayPal receipts. Maybe he has voicemails. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he did a Monica Lewinsky. Okay. Maybe he was just like, okay, the fact that I'm out here with this powerful guy, they're different, and I need to protect myself. Maybe I'm going to keep some evidence or some information that if something happens to me or something weird occurs, I'm going to have some receipts to back me up on what we got going on over here. I don't know what Clayton Howard has, but apparently they know he has something, and it's been subpoenaed, and the government does not want it coming in, or they don't want aspects of it coming in. I can't give you the detail because the motion to quash has not been docketed. Okay. And it won't be until after the defense and the prosecution have an opportunity to talk. But again, the judge advises that the subpoenaed materials need to be in by Friday. Okay. And like I said, I was not clear who Clayton Howard was. I felt like I'd heard the name, but we've heard a lot of information in the past 2 days. And he is he was noted as being one of the performers or slash one of the escorts, also known as Dave. Okay. So you guys tell me what you think. What's he got? He apparently has some sort of receipts. Okay. Um, Another thing. So that's number one that's on the docket. Let me tell you about number two. So Cassie's lawyer, I'm not gonna read this whole entire thing to you unless you guys want me to, but the gist of it is basically this is not it. My bad. I just pulled up the wrong one. Let's see. So Cassie's lawyer, so Mr. Combs filed his lawyer filed a letter basically stating that they should not allow Cassie to confer with her lawyer in between like breaks and lunch and things like that. Like if he, kind of almost saying that there could be like some witness prep and things like that, and she should be going based on her own recollection, and that meeting with her, being able to confer with her lawyer in between, they're asking for that to not occur. Anyway, so the prosecution has filed their response to it. And I don't think the judge has said anything. I think that let me see. There's no update on that yet, but basically they don't want Cassie to be able to now at a certain point, if there's something, if she's been given some sort of immunity, let's say, if you will, because she did participate in if they are charging him with trafficking and she was, she participated in this as well, it's quite possible they gave her some sort of immunity from any sort of prosecution for participating in booking, sex workers and things like that. So, it's quite possible that she doesn't necessarily need to talk to her lawyer because she's got any kind of immunity about anything that could have occurred during those times. But again, Mr. Combs' attorneys do not want her to be able to kind of like in between breaks or I need to speak with my lawyer type thing. And so the prosecution has responded to it, but will you be going to the trial? To New York? To the Diddy trial? No, I'm not going. Mm-mm. No. No. I mean, it seems like it's going to be going on for a while, but I don't think by the time I make it up to like New York or New Jersey, um, we don't have any plans to get up there anytime soon. I think we have some plans in late August, September, but the trial will be over. We're not going up to New York anytime soon. Girl. Yes, I think she's, I don't know what they've discussed with her. All of this is very kind of hush hush as far as the details of the matter and is, what they've talked about with her. She had her civil case, but as far as any kind of, criminal acts that could have occurred, she openly talked about drug usage. She openly talked about booking uh, you know, escorts and things of that nature. So it's quite possible that they've instructed her that she could freely give her testimony without any worry of prosecution, because obviously they're trying to get Mr. Combs. But yes, yesterday's testimony was pretty, I mean, it was enlightening. For me, some of the things I heard, I felt like were like, okay, that's a lot. But I'm gonna be honest, it didn't even surprise me. I mean, it didn't surprise me. Even the baby oil baths, like the blow up pool and drenching, and I mean, I'm just not surprised. I'm not surprised. It was pretty nasty, but it was kind of one of those things. There's somebody out here who's doing far worse than that. You know what I mean? There's it was kind of one of those things where unimaginable meets your kind of like, "Oh my god, really?" Yes, and somebody out there is doing even worse than that. Um, yes. I mean, I think as far as using prostitutes and taking drugs, I think that's a done deal, right? I don't know I don't know what else she's going to be bringing to the table. I would imagine today they would be pivoting like, okay, there's only but so much of the freak off that we need to hear about. So it was like a whole day yesterday of freak off, right? Um Today I wonder, are they going to get more into like the operations of it all in terms of tying in who did what, how did what happen? I don't know. I guess also the defense gets a turn to have a conversation with her. They have to prove more. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, freak off is okay. Freak offs happened. This is what freak offs are. This is who's involved in the freak off. And then, okay, what else? And then the defense is going to have a turn, and then the prosecution will get to come back, and then if they want, then the defense can come back again. So baby, there she'll be on the stand, I'm sure, most of today, but I'm quite sure it's going to be pivoting off of, yeah, it might be more of like, okay, tell us about how you got drugs. Like it might be something like that. So yeah, it could be, how did you get the drugs? How were they delivered? I know she already said yesterday too, like assistance and security and this, that, and the third. Um, we gonna have to see. I was not surprised. Look, these are things that are not always, why can't we see the case live? Because there's no cameras allowed in federal court. So, yeah, there's no cameras allowed in federal court. So the reporters can be in there and witnesses. You can go to the federal court and go see. Um, but there's no cameras. I listened yesterday, but I didn't hear about any. So there were blow up pools. So I said bath, but bathing herself in baby oil and Astroglide in blow up pools. So they would fill up a blow up pool with oils, oils and Astroglide, and get wet with the oils and glide. They'll deal with him. People will, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. People forget about stuff in 6 months to a year. Some people forget about stuff in 2 weeks. Now, Diddy, he used to be kind of like, I don't want to say, he definitely was not America's dad, but he's one of these guys who's like a dad figure. He's a party guy. He's Mr. White Parties in the Hamptons. He's also Mr. Social, Mr. Big parties, period. And then now the freak offs and all of those things. There will be plenty of people who will sign up to go right, because if he is exonerated, baby, they'll be back with him, no problem. No problem. So I don't, I, we're talking about Hollywood people. So, or the people who believe and feel like he is being given a bad deal. Um, let's see. Yeah, I think that it's very easy to think because some people may feel a way about him, but under everyone doesn't feel a way, and some people will forget. Um, I'm not surprised. I'm just he is a for he has a very interesting appetite, and clearly he likes what he likes. He likes to watch, and he wants all the sauce on him. What left me yesterday is I did feel bad for Cassie in the sense that it was giving, I'll do anything for my man, even if my man, he's really not your man, but um I felt bad for her because uh there are women out here that feel like if they just do one more thing, it's going to get them what they want. Um she wanted to be his boo. She wanted to be his girl, but she was one of many. And it seems as though the time that they spent together was either on red carpets, for work, and or freak off situations. Even if it was vacation, baby, it was a freak off situation. Let me see what India say. Well, this is certainly an educational for me. I've never heard of Astroglide, wherever that is. Well, it's a lubricant. They said it in the testimony. Johnson's baby oil and Astroglide. I think I probably watched a couple of uh news updates yesterday, and they would say Astroglide, a lubricant used for just like what is it? I don't know. Whatever lubricant, personal intimacy lubricants. It's a lubricant. Uh the Nips testimony took me out. You're talking about him using that he wanted that sauce rubbed on his body, the man's sauce. This is nothing new. These parties have been going on for years. Absolutely. I mean, he's been known for his parties for years. What's going on in the after parties, I'm sure the people who knew. On its face. Sometimes it was just a white party in the Hamptons, but maybe after the sun goes down and people are leaving and 75% of the guests are gone, you might have 20, 35, percent of the guests stay back to watch and participate in the shenanigans. I just think, you would hear people say things and it was easy to not believe because they're saying it out in the open like, "Oh my god, you would say that?" Yes, and I think that's what maybe even gave him a little more cover. India, I don't see your comment. Oh, there it is. I've heard enough about freak offs to last a lifetime. Just the fact that freak off has come into like a phrase now, like, "Oh my god, the freak off." I mean, you could say freak off around kids and kids of a certain age and they know. You know what I mean? Something interesting. The twins and Chance are 5 months apart, like 5, 6 months apart. So I think Chance was born in June, so 6 months. Chance was born in June and the twins were born in December of 2006. And I guess because they are, they're December babies, they were like a year behind in school. So Chance, obviously had one of those before September birthdays, and then they had the late in the year birthday. So Chance's first year in college, they're finishing up high school. But yeah, crazy. I feel like I remember that when Kim Porter was pregnant at the same time of as Sarah Chapman. Okay. Some idiot says people she set up Diddy for his money. I don't, you know what I mean? It's possible. Oh, let me see. I'm getting some texts. Okay. Um, did they say GHB was in the baby oil? They did not say that. She said she took GHB. So maybe KK, the chief of staff, was like, I think she was chief of staff. KK, she might be the one who's going to be able to tell us about the bigger freak offs, like basically the orgies. Not just, would you consider that an orgy? I don't know. Look, with Cassie. So I guess what we're hearing with Cassie is their relationship specifically, and that the people that they would have around them for like their small version of like a mini freak off, if you will. But we also heard about the massive orgy parties. That might be something completely different that we're going to hear from other people about. um I don't know. It's all kind of like we just gonna have to wait for this thing to unfold because it's a lot. You know how, girl. Okay. No, friend, they found it in the baby oil when they found it in the house. Okay. All right. I don't know anything about it, so um I'm sure they'll talk about it. I'm sure they'll talk about it. I didn't know anything about it. I knew that there was tons of baby oil. I didn't know that they found it like infused into the oils. So, okay. But yeah, we knew that GHB was girl, yes, the man sauce. Um oh, you said they did say. Okay, got it. Okay. Um so I'm quite sure. So let's look at it this way. If they're going to make an assertion, um now did they say that during the testimony? They found it in the baby oil when they first found it in the house. So let's say this: if they're going to have police detectives and all of that talk about, like someone from Homeland Security talk about, tell us about when you went and did the search in Miami. Tell us what you found, because those are things that I would imagine are going to come up, like Homeland Security. Like, we're focused right now on Cassie and the freak offs and the this and that, but when law enforcement comes through, they're going to be the ones to be able to tell us, okay, we found this. Was it laced with that? Or what was, we treated it like this, we sent it to the crime lab. When the lab results came back, we were able to verify that, unbeknownst to party goers, blah blah blah, this that and the third type of thing. We're only 3 witnesses in, so we haven't heard nothing yet. You know what I mean? The prosecutor said we're about to hear about 20 years worth of information, and we hadn't heard nothing yet. You know what I mean? For as much as we're learning about the intimate moments of him and Cassie and what they had going on in their bedroom and all that kind of stuff, we haven't heard nothing. Because I know I've heard many people say, well, I haven't heard of Rico yet. We're only 3 witnesses in. I don't even know how long the witness list is. So there, it seems like there's a lot more to go. There's a lot more to come. There's a lot more to expect, from, for them to be able to create a case. Because yesterday people were saying, well, I don't hear a Rico. Okay, well, we're only 2 witnesses in. They could have a list of 100. Not that they're going to call 100, but let's see. You like a party, but not that type of party. You don't like a Diddy party? Ain't no party like a P Diddy party. Okay. Um, yeah, it's not for everybody. They do look like triplets, because they basically are. Okay. Okay, so if you were just now coming in, we did look at the arrival. It's rainy in New York, and Miss Janice got off the bus with her hat. We did not see the girls today. I'm gonna say the most notable is we did not see the girls. The boys were there. So Christian, Justin, Quincy, Grandma. Um, I didn't see Sarah Chapman. Let me show you. Is she back? Look at this. This is from Monday. This woman right here with the glasses on, I'm thinking that's Love's mother. I don't know if I saw her get off the bus, but I think that's the baby's mother right there. Love, behind Miss Janice and Christian. Um, if that's her, then all the baby moms showed up, obviously with the exception of Kim Porter, who's deceased, right? But this was the girls on Monday. That was Miss Janice and Christian. Justin's in the back. And then baby, the controversy over Justin's mom. When she got out the car on Monday, I guess she thought she was going to do it with a sneaker. And apparently she put that boot right back on. I had a friend who had a foot surgery and decided to go out and thought it was a good idea to just go out with her sneaker on and not wear her surgical boot. And she messed up her foot so bad that I think like 3 months later, she had to go back to the doctor. They had to re-break her foot and reset it because it needed to stay in that boot. So if she got some sort of procedure and she thought she was going to be cute trying to wear sneakers and use the walker, clearly on Tuesday, she made a different decision and go ahead and put her foot in that boot like she knew she should have. That would have answered a lot of people's questions, because people were bothered by that walker. Okay. Yeah, you got to wear the boot. I mean, it does what it needs to do. It compresses, it holds, and it secures. Is that so? Compress and secure. I guess they're similar but not the same. It's absolutely necessary. If your doctor puts you in a compression boot or a surgical boot, baby, you better wear that damn boot. You're gonna end up right back getting your foot reset, because the sneaker doesn't do it. The sneaker can't. I don't care if you have on some Adidas Superstars or you have on like the thickest pair of Jordans. Nothing is going to replace that boot. Okay. And they even give you a relaxed form of it, like a driving boot. Um, but you have to wear the boots, right? Do you think all those years of wearing fashionable shoes have she might have got a bunionectomy. Girl, she might have had like a bone um that needed or some people have issues with their feet, so we don't really know, but yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I have a couple of friends who had mangled feet from heels. You know what I mean? Just slave to heels and mangled their feet basically. So, but yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I checked the docket. I'm sure some other stuff might post. You never know. I'm keeping an eye on the docket, see what's going on. And we can get together at lunchtime and listen to some more and get back into some more testimony. Um, I'm waiting for an email right now. Let me see. It's very overwhelming because it is a lot going on. Um, and lots of different reporters giving their version of basically all the same story. But it's interesting to hear what's important to like kind of what's important to which reporter kind of lets us in on like, okay, this happened, that happened. But basically, yesterday's freak off uh information was, I think, for a lot of people very overwhelming, very kind of like wow. Also in a professional setting, one thing that I thought about too, just watching, it was interesting. I can't even say that I noticed a lot of male reporters, which I did not. I just noted like as the women who had to stand there and talk about the freak offs, the sexcapades, the lubricants, the this, that, and the third to maybe their male counterparts who were in the studio. I just, it's so embarrassing because, like, you're just talking about some straight up effing, okay? You're talking about straight up nasty sex that you wouldn't talk about with your colleagues otherwise. This is a real kind of like moment in having to talk about topics that we really don't spend a lot of time discussing openly, especially in the workplace. I mean, people are having to talk about this, like Diddy. Also, just in the general workplace, this is a pop culture phenomenon right now that Diddy is in court, and this is going on, and it's really hard to discuss around people even in the workplace and say freak off because it's really not appropriate to talk about typically, but this is a big thing that's going on. So I this is a lot. It's a lot. But also listening to the news anchors have to kind of clean it up for CNN or MSNBC or ABC. They just have to kind of like, we're going to spare you with some of the details, but it got very explicit. You know what I mean? Like they couldn't talk about it. There was very little that traditional media could talk about. I can talk about all of it. You know what I'm saying? But on your traditional news media, they can barely talk about it. It's you how they can barely report on it. She's going to do it. I think sometimes, and this is just my speculation, I don't know this to be true, but I'm going to say this. She suffered for a long time, right? She felt really, she was traumatized by this relationship with this guy, right? And for many different reasons. The sexual component, the rejection, all of the things, right? The using, the the sex acts, having trains ran on you. Even if somewhere in the back of your mind you convinced yourself you enjoyed it, you liked it, you were stimulated by it, whatever, at a certain point, like she says on the screen, she felt worthless. She got to a point where she did not like it anymore. Um sometimes maybe she had the ability to be able to compartmentalize and maybe get into it a little bit, or she was on so much drugs type of thing. It very well could be for her at this moment that she's getting an opportunity to have her voice be heard. That it becomes real now because people didn't believe her. They talk shit on the internet and this, that, and the third. And when the CNN thing came out, it made it a little bit more, people were like, wow, I believe it. Like, wow, we didn't believe it. Look what happened. This, that, and the third. I feel like, look, as difficult as this might be, I almost feel like when she's done with this, she's free. Hopefully for her, she's going to be able to lay this down in that jury box and walk away from it and be able to really heal, because she's gotten her civil judgment where he was held accountable monetarily for a damn 10-year deal. This is not what she got monetarily compensated for, but let's just say it. At the end of the day, you went as a rising star. You had a contract for 10 albums, and basically he put you out one record and then made you his own personal boo thing. He took you off the available market to be able to realize your musical potential. And just from that, for me, it's almost like you got compensated in civil court. Now you get to come to federal court. You get to tell your complete story. Nobody's interrupting you. You get to tell exactly how it happened. You don't have any repercussions of any type of potential prosecution, for your participation, any of it. You get to tell your whole entire story and lay it down and walk away and don't have to be bothered anymore. So for me, I think this is a great opportunity because at the end of the day, yeah, you won in civil court, but people still talking shit about you. She gets to actually sit in front of the world right now and tell people what actually happened to her and potentially what happened to other people. So I would almost feel like this could be a very freeing experience to just be able to put it out, let it go. You know what I mean? And also for him to just kind of have to eat a little bit of the shit that he gave her. Because he's sitting there in shackles. He's sitting there fighting for his freedom. And she felt like a prisoner for damn near the majority of this relationship, being watched and, monetarily, being a captive to his money, his coin, his say, no ability to be able to move with her career, all of those things. He's sitting there now captive, and she's walking in smelling good, looking good, beautiful, pregnant for the third time by her husband, living her life. Even if she's still sad, she loved the dude. In her way, she loved him. Sitting there crying, him being a narcissist, he probably enjoyed the fact that she was crying. Okay. But at the end of the day, she got to go to whatever nice hotel and snuggle up with the man who has really provided her protection and her security for the last decade. She's got a nice husband. Obviously, they seem to be doing okay with their relationship. They're having another baby. At the end of the day, sis free. And she looks good. And she's living her life. She's making her own family. Diddy had an opportunity to give her babies, and he didn't. Maybe they'll talk about that today. He had an opportunity, girl. He was getting everybody else pregnant. So she's living her life. She's happy, she's doing her damn thing. And I think she's got compensated not just as payment for those years, but just the career that's lost. She lost when she didn't know it. We didn't know it. And I'm not faulting her. But when he tried her, she felt a certain way. When he kissed her on her birthday or whatever the case might be, whatever was the turning point from boss, from record executive and talent, and she decided to go to that hotel room, um, and that changed the trajectory of her relationship. She became, she became one of his women versus really the cover was that she was an artist, but she was really his woman, his one of his playthings or whatever. Um, she had a ten record deal. They never made good on their promises to her, and he had her captive for 10 records. So she couldn't go anywhere. Let the truth be told, she still might. I mean, we don't even know what the deal is with her contract. Maybe the contract has expired. That might sound for a friend. That's he's in custody. Da, da. Bad Boy still exists, right? Maybe that was part of the settlement that they will hold harmless, or they release her from like you were released, you can do what you want. There is, you know, it's just one of those things where I just feel like this is a good thing for her. For as many people who might think that, oh, this is horrible, you're pregnant, she's going to have a baby, she's going to be able to go into that hospital, have her baby, and be free. She's done. The only thing for me, and I think I said this yesterday, I hate that her husband had to listen to all that, but maybe they, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what they're doing in their personal life. Okay. But having your husband, and excuse what I'm getting ready to say, if you got me playing in the car or whatever, you might not want to, or at the job, baby, the fact that she was sitting there taking two dicks at the same time, baby, my God. Okay. Do you imagine? Number one, but number two, your husband had to hear that. He probably knows, but I'm sure there were some things she didn't tell. Baby, the fact that your whole husband is having to hear about the sexcapades, that can change a man's heart, how they feel. That could make them disgusted towards you. He would have had to sit outside and promise he was never like, I got to do this. Sit outside. Like, he would have had to sit outside. That's to the grave. That is some stuff that if you participate in some freak nasty stuff before you meet Mr. Right, baby, don't sit up there and tell them. Don't ever follow that stupid stuff that you see on The Bachelor where they're like, I need to tell you something. I want to tell you about, like, I used to do this, that, and the third. Keep that to yourself. You are not casting. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody doesn't need to hear all of the details. The internet is forever. They don't forget. It's in the back of their mind, right? I just, I hate that she had to relive that, and the husband sat there and listened to it. But again, no judgment zone. I don't, you know what I'm saying? That's her business. They might even be into, like, whatever they were doing. One interesting thing, let's get up off of that. So that's just me. One thing, when she ran into the escort, did you guys hear this yesterday? When she ran into the escort, and he was at the situation, he was out with a friend, and she wanted to reach out to him again to get together on some one-on-one. I mean, Cassie might just enjoy certain things at this point. Also, let's keep in mind, she got turned out. He tricked her out. You know what I mean? He got her into certain things. So, not to say that she is still into that, but a part of her might remember when she did enjoy some of it. I think she said it was hard to remember whether she enjoyed some things or any of it because she was so on drugs. Yeah, she looks beautiful, right? Perfect. It's like a perfect fit. Um, but yeah, she was groomed, exactly. So if she still does have a taste a little bit, and they get freaky once or twice a year, like on anniversary or whatever, baby, it's because she was groomed. Thank you. Yes. She definitely got turned out into this. He introduced her to his sex life, and made it her sex life for over a decade, basically, to where she, and then also she knew how to get him. She wanted to spend time with him. She wanted to be with him. She needed to send him I need you to come over and F me, or let's do, she was open to it. So even some of the texts where she may have asked for it, it's because she wanted to be with him, and she knew that to be with him, this is what it was. Maybe for them, it wasn't lots of dinners. I mean, maybe they went out to dinner because that's just what they did. You know what I mean? They're rich people. She was with a rich man. And that's what they did. Private chefs, going out to dinner. That was not like a big deal. It wasn't date night. That's how we're going to get food. Right. But they were not in a deep relationship like he was with these women he was giving babies to. Even, so let's say leave it like that. Girl, all of those shenanigans, all of the detail, that also, just as a man, to have to sit there in the court and listen to that around all of those people. I give him a lot of credit for sitting in there, because she is sitting there pregnant with his baby. I don't know. I think I would have just been like good with my attorneys and my husband sitting outside or sitting in some sort of room where he can maintain his dignity and also not have to hear the sordid details of some shit that I was into and dealing with before we met. You know what I mean? Like, that was just kind of like, I was like, that's rough. That's rough. You know? Anyway, that's my morning update, guys. Is there anything else we need to talk about? Let me see. Let me tell you guys something else too. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna file a separate report over on my other channel, but um if you guys have been following um the whole thing with Tory Lanez, just to give you a little bit of detail, y'all, he was the guy who stabbed him. Reportedly, he was stabbed 14 times by someone who's serving a life sentence. Now, baby, what? I didn't know that lifers, I thought lifers all had to kind of be together. Like lifers were out for like an hour a day, and it was like lifers are in their particular area and whatever. Girl, 14 times. 14 times. Tory Lanez, yes, was stabbed. Hold on, let me see if I can find. I have two updates. But yeah, he was rushed to the hospital. Was that Monday? He was stabbed, his lungs collapsed, baby. It was a whole mess. And so apparently the person who did it is a lifer. So they have nothing to lose. So I don't, I'm not sure if somebody was just trying to get a name, somebody's just crazy, somebody put out a hit, we don't know. But that information, I was reading about that today. Let me see what I can. Okay. Let me see if you guys want me to. Let me pull up a. Hold on one sec. Let me get something pulled up. So you guys know who Tory Lanez is. Tory Lanez is doing a 10-year sentence for the situation with Meg Thee Stallion after a Kylie Jenner party. Meg was shot in the foot, and et cetera, et cetera. He is in jail doing 10-year prison sentence for the shooting and injury of Meg Thee Stallion. So recently, as in 2-3 days ago, He was stabbed on the yard. Just once, let me pull this up. I was just trying to find a picture real quick. Okay. All right, give me just 1 second. Okay. Um, I'm not reading from ABC News. I was trying to find just a picture by itself. I don't know why I picked that one. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay. So let's see. So what they said, this is coming from the Los Angeles Times. Authorities have identified the inmate accused of stabbing incarcerated rapper Tory Lanez with a self-made shank as the 41-year-old Santino Casio, who is serving a life sentence for murder. Casio allegedly attacked Lanes, whose legal name is Daystar Peterson, around 7:20 a.m. Monday in a housing unit at the California Correctional Institute at Takapi. According to California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, Peterson is serving a 10-year sentence for shooting Meg the Stallion in 2020. He was transported to an outside medical facility for treatment and is currently in fair condition, prison officials said Tuesday afternoon. An Instagram account ascribed to Lanes said that the rapper was stabbed 14 times, including 7 wounds in his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to his face. The 32-year-old Canadian artist was said to have suffered 2 collapsed lungs, but was in good spirits and pulling through. Casio has been placed in restrictive housing while prison officials and the Kern County District Attorney's Office investigate the attack. The alleged assailant was sent to the California Correctional Institute from Los Angeles in 2004 after being sentenced to life without possibility of parole for second-degree murder, first-degree attempted murder, use of a deadly weapon, and inflicting great bodily injury, according to CDCR. While in prison, Casio has been sentenced for 2 additional crimes. In 2008, he was sentenced for 6 years for assaulting a prisoner with a deadly weapon. Then in 2018, he was sentenced to 2 years for possessing a deadly weapon in prison. Peterson was sentenced in August of 2023 for shooting Grammy Award winning artist Meg the Stallion, whose legal name is Megan Pete. He was convicted in December of 2022 of assault with a firearm, illegal possession of a firearm, and negligent discharge of a gun. The Savage musician has alleged that Peterson has continued to harass her from prison by directing his fans and online trolls to disparage her online. In January, a Los Angeles judge granted Pete a restraining order against Peterson until 2030. Okay, baby. And that's what's going on. Okay. And that's what's going on, guys. Okay, that's our morning update. I'm going to be back at lunchtime. We'll get into some of the testimony over there at Cassie and see what's going on. If you hear something, you already know what I say. Say something, okay? Let me know. Let me know if there's something I need to know, okay? Um Girl, he was left for dead 14 times. He stabbed him in the face, the torso, the back. Baby, where else? Everywhere. Where'd they stab him? They didn't stab him in the leg. My God. He tore him up 14 times. 7 wounds to his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to the face. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. So anyway, that's it. I did put a couple of posts up on OSIP. If you're not following me on OSIP, get into it. They're over there, so that's where I was gonna post that, but I'll probably just take this clip now and drop it right over on OSIP. So you guys heard it first. At the end of the day, I'm sure he's just recovering. You know, he's recovering. They're probably gonna have to figure out. I would imagine they're probably not even going to send him back to where he was. I would think they'd probably send him to somewhere else. They probably need to rotate him out to a whole nother jail, no whole nother prison, because maybe this is not, his life. It could either be that specific prison, it could be anything else, who knows, but he might need to be out of there. Also, I think I don't know, this is what I heard. He's been doing music, you know what I mean? If people knows like, oh, he's Tory Lanez, and also you got a lot of mental illness in the prison system. This guy already is a murderer. Okay. This guy's already a murderer, this guy Cassio. He's already a murderer and he's already doing a life sentence without parole. What do you think? Like, he doesn't care? Someone who's got a life sentence without parole, they don't care. If they have that type of appetite to do those type of things, then they're just looking for victims. And if you want to be known as the person that took out Tory Lanez, then you're going to be known as the person who took out Tory Lanez, right? And also if he was doing things around the jail, the prison, I keep saying jail, my bad. He's doing things, he's recording music, he's putting out music from behind the bars. Some people might feel some type of way about that. People can be very jealous. So who knows? I would think that once he is healed, obviously I don't think that's a reason for him to get out of prison, but they've got plenty of prisons all through California that they can put him in, and maybe they just need to reassign him somewhere else that might be a little bit safer, for a high profile man like himself. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna let y'all go. I will see you guys a little bit later. Have a wonderful day. If you're on the replay, please make sure to like this live. If you're new, subscribe, set your notifications, and I'll see you guys a little bit later on at lunchtime. Okay. Bye, guys. Take care. Have a good day. See you later.